This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Verdon. Welcome to a very special Labor Day edition of Digital Sportscentre. And like every year, it caps off a very big weekend in the CFL. Right around the time of the posting of this show, the Argonauts and Ticats are battling it out. And later tonight, it's the Battle of Alberta between the Elks and the Stampeders. And it really is the wild, wild west in the CFL this season, where top spot is still up for grabs. Saskia leads the way and picked up a big win against the Blue Bombers in the Banjo Bowl Sunday. The Stamps have been one of the best teams in the CFL this season, and that's partly in thanks to the addition of Vernon Adams Jr., who in Week 12 took down the Rough Riders, sweeping the season series. Calgary has quite the edge over the Elks in the Labor Day Classic. They've won 10 of their last 12 meetings on this day dating back to 2012. But if you remember last year, the Elks did get the better of Calgary, so the Stamps will be looking for a little revenge. And you can't really count the Elks out, who enter Monday on a 3-game win streak and are aiming to climb back into the playoff picture. But to make it 4, they'll have to make it their first win of the division this season. Our friends at FanDuel have the Stampeders at 7.5-point favorites tonight. And as always, you can catch the action right here on TSN. Pre-game coverage between the Elks and Stamps begins at 5:30 p.m. Eastern or 3:30 p.m. Mountain Time. How about them Cowboys? Dallas stayed in the headlines over the weekend by handing out a huge extension to star corner Deron Bland, which gives him the 6th highest AAV among NFL corners. Now don't get us wrong, Bland is a great player, and there's a reason he was an All-Pro just 2 years ago. But this extension really has us questioning what direction the Cowboys are trying to go in. It's no secret that Dallas have been spenders in the past year or so, as they have handed out hundreds of millions of dollars to guys like Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, and traded away draft capital to add players like George Pickens. So with moves like that and now Bland's deal, it seems like they're trying to win right now, right? But if you are trying to compete, why in the world would you trade away Micah Parsons? Yeah, sure, extension talks weren't going well, but Parsons made it pretty clear he never thought he'd be moved. And more importantly, he didn't want to leave. So if he wasn't fully out the door, why make the move? Jerry Jones tried to answer that question after the deal was announced, stating that he thinks the trade makes the team better, both in the future and right now. But if you look at the numbers, they suggest otherwise. Ever since Parsons was drafted, the Cowboys have had an elite defense. And according to ESPN, their EPA per play is actually top of the league with him on the field. However, when he's missed time, they rank dead last in the same category. And we don't have to look further than last year to see how true this is. As in the 4 games Parsons missed, the Cowboys averaged more than 30 points on defense a game, a pace which would have had them second worst in the entire league over a full season. So is Dallas really in a better position without Parsons than they were with him? Well, FanDuel certainly does not think so, as they are now long shots to get into the playoffs. So unless Jerry Jones really knows something the rest of us don't, it could be a long, painful year in Dallas. We are still some months away from the 2026 Paralympic Games, but we're pleased to be joined by a very special guest. He's a 4-time Paralympics Games medalist with the Canadian para-hockey team. He retired after the 2022 Games, becoming an assistant coach, but he's back now trying to make the 2026 roster. Greg Westlake, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Marissa. Great to be here.
Canada has lost to the U.S. twice in the last 2 gold medal games at the Paralympics. Obviously, you want to win the gold in Milan, but how nice would it be to have it happen against the Americans?
It would be fantastic. Of course, there's a rivalry there. Geographically, we're so close. The games get heated. It's physical. And they've been a really good team for a really long time, so we have to respect that. And they have beat us fair and square. So, you know, a big part of character and a big part of sports is how do you take that and move forward? And so for us, I welcome the challenge. And I think if we can just rise to that challenge every day and be purposeful in our preparation and just keep stacking one good day after the other, we're going to put ourselves in a position to get over that hump. And it would be very, very nice to do it against the Americans.
What are some of the small nuances of para-ice hockey that are different from ice hockey the average fan might not even realize?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's several differences. I mean, first off, just when you watch it, obviously we're not skating. We're sitting down in sleds and buckets, and we're propelling ourselves with our arms. So it's an upper body driven sport. It's incredibly tough to learn at the start. There's a steep learning curve. But once you kind of figure out how to glide on that sled and make the turns, it becomes one of the most freeing feelings in the world. It's fantastic. And of course, we can't skate backwards. So that's another small change. We have 2 sticks instead of 1. Which allows us to do a lot of creative stick handling and moves and change our angle on shots. So, yeah, there's a bunch of differences. I view them as positives. I think it's what makes our game unique and an amazing thing to watch.
This is a notoriously tough sport to master. What's your number 1 tip that you'd give to newcomers coming into the game?
Well, for the first time, it's all about your sled. If your sled is set up for success, you'll be just fine. And that's, where the blades are located under your sled, how far apart they are. But that would be the number one thing is take the time before you get on the ice to have your sled set up properly by someone who knows what they're doing, and you'll have just an amazing experience.
Greg, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Marissa.
To the WNBA, where we have 3 games tonight. But we're going to look at the LA Sparks taking on the Seattle Storm. And it's a big one. With 6 games remaining, the Sparks sit 2 games out of the playoffs. And just above them, currently in the playoff picture, is the Storm. Our friends at FanDuel have Seattle at 8-point home favorites on this one. And although the Storm are heavy favorites, it is worth noting that in their last 2 meetings this season, LA have come out on top in 2 very close games. And if the Sparks hope to upset the Storm tonight, they'll need another big game from Kelsey Plum. In 2 games against Seattle this season, Plum has put up 22 and 20 points. So if you're a betting person and you expect Plum to replicate her past 2 games against the Storm, you can take her to score over 18.5 points at plus money. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching on this Labor Day. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Have a good one.